if you're ticket happy like me, it's probably best to invest in a radar. When I got my radar, I didn't want a sticky cut mounted system. I always thought they looked cheap. So with my Beamer, I went with a blend mount, mirror mounted system, along with their wiretap kit. So now I can mount my radar to the mirror, and I actually power the radar through my power mirror. Beautiful thing, it looks clean, and it actually looks factory. What more could you ask for? Today, we're going to show you how to mount and wiretap your radar into your mirror. Alright, first you need to split the mirror. I recommend getting a really nice small screwdriver like this. So when you split this mirror, if you open this up, you're going to notice there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 clips. These are the areas that it's going to hold on to, and you don't want to break one of these tabs off. So you'll stick the screwdriver in and pop these clips at each point. Now, keep in mind, this is for a 2002 BMW M3. You're into the mirror, get yourself oriented. This is your rain sensor, which you're going to be tapping into for power. So next, you need to actually remove this sensor by unclipping it. So when you get this opened up and this tab popped off, you're going to notice 4 wires. The one on the farthest left is going to be your power wire. The one right next to it, which isn't very seeable right now, that's your ground wire. So in the kit, you're going to know that the red wire is going to go on the far left, and the ground wire, which is black, is going to go right here in the rightmost one. So here's left power, the one right next to it is going to be your ground. So now what we have to do is start testing out all the wiretaps they sent. So when you get your wiretap wires out, you're going to notice there's going to be several sizes of these, but all of them are going to have one thing in common. They're going to have one round side, which is going to be the side that goes into the big cable wire they sent, and then the blade side. That's going to be the side that you actually insert into the terminals on the mirror itself. So what you have to do is find out which blade of all these wiretap wires is the right one for your terminal. You're going to test all 4 sides of the wire to see if there's a spot it'll go into. And this one, as you can see, is too big for it. So we go down a size. Now the ones on the left that appear smaller, those actually fit very well. However, they gave us very intermittent power, which obviously you don't want to your accessory. So what we've done instead is the medium-sized wires, we've clipped them down to the similar length. However, the blade is just a little thicker, and that allows a better fitment. Clip it down to a similar length. The lesson of the story is here, make sure the wiretaps you're using fit tight. You don't want them to have any slop in them, otherwise they're going to fall out, and then you're going to have problems later down the road, and you're going to have to open this thing back up again, which you don't want. So make sure you check your connections there. Good. And now we're going to put the heat shrink on. You get a nice tight one. That way it goes right over those 2 wires. And that way when you heat shrink it on, it's really going to stay. Good. So that first base we put on is holding those wires connected so that they don't slip out. Next, we're going to put another sleeve just for safety, so that we join those two parts. So that's just a bigger heat shrink. Okay, so we got the wires installed now, and we ended up going on the back side of this clip. But you notice the red one, now remember, it started on the left, now it's on the far right. The red one is in the power, which is the far right, and then the black one, which is ground, is in the one right next to it, right in line with the wires that they're supposed to be tapping into. Okay, before you plug it in, but you do have your wires, and before you zip tie it all together, plug in your accessory. You don't want to have to go backtrack. So plug in the accessory, turn the key on, make sure it powers up. There, it powers up, good. So then what you want to do is move these wires around a bit, make sure power's not intermittent. Even if you wiggle them around, nothing's gonna happen. And nothing's happening, so we know power is solid now, and we can bolt this thing together. Okay, so what we're doing now, we're actually using some tape, and you see how those wires have a little wire showing there at the end. So we're gonna put some tape there so we don't get any shorts. Okay, so as you can see, we got the red and black wires that we installed there taped up so they don't short. And then right next to it, we zip tied them together closer to the base, just so that even if you pull on this wire, nothing's coming apart. And so now it's ready to bolt together. Okay, so now that you got it all together, you're gonna take this plug and plug it back into that terminal. Okay, we're back to do the mirror mount. Since we have a wire that's going to be coming out, we got to make a place for that wire to come out. I'm choosing to do it right here at the corner here because it'll be nice and clean and you won't be able to see a big wire hanging out. But remember, in our case, you have a little clip that hooks on, so we know that we don't want to hit that. So take your marker and just knock a little spot here that you're going to file out. We're going to use a nice handheld round file so we don't have any accidents. But you're just going to make enough clearance for that wire to come through. Just don't knock off this clip. Here's an example file kit you can get, and you can just pick the file that's going to suit your need. So we got our spot picked out, and first I want you to get a triangular file because it has a sharp edge. And we're going to use that sharp edge. You pick your point, and you're going to make a groove using that sharp edge. We want a groove there so that when you start using the round file, it doesn't start slipping around on you and actually knock a tab, or you make an unclean hole. So go ahead and start filing. Okay, now you're going to switch to your round file, okay? And what you want to do, put it in the groove and go ahead and file. Now, remember, we want to get it into the meat here. This little lip, that's just going to pop into the other side of the case. So you got to get into the meat here so that you get a little hole for your wire. Okay, so we got our mirror clip there, and that's the hole we're putting into it. And as you can tell, this wire is going to fit really nice into that hole. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take both halves, since this one is just almost done there, we're going to take both halves, put them together, and we're going to make that hole go into both sides of these cases. So this is the one half that's done, and then we put two sides of the cases together, and as you can see, there's a little hole. So now we're going to make that complete onto the other side of the case. So we got one side of the mirror cover on, as you can see. Now, make sure it's flush, and the wire, remember, you want it to come out of that little slot you drilled. And then you can pop the other side on. So we got the case on, and if you got extra wire, you can actually just stuff it into the case like that. So now what we gotta do is put the bracket on to hold our accessory. Okay, we showed you how to wiretap. Now it's time to get this mount installed to your mirror so that you can mount your radar itself.